all right, let me throw an idea out and just sit with it for a minute. I think 2025 is the year AI might just crown a new set of compute barons. I read this Times piece. They called them the architects of AI. And I get why they chose that word. It does sound clean. It sounds intentional. It sounds smart, but it feels like the wrong metaphor. I don't know if they're architects. They feel more like industrial barons, right? Like this feels way closer to that gilded age than Silicon Valley mythology. Think like late 1800s, like the Rockefellers, the Carnegies, the Morgans, the Vanderbilt. Think oil, steel, railroads, finance. Back then, if you controlled the rails, well, you basically controlled the economy. Today, what are the rails? Well, they're compute. Somewhere along the way, AI stopped being tech. It stopped being a category you could debate on podcasts and argue about on Twitter or X. And it became this system for power, for money and work. And you see a very small group of companies, they control the infrastructure everything else runs on. You can see it in the moves they're constantly making. It's like huge infrastructure bets, like $1 trillion. That's not like gambling. That's not experiments. Those are big commitments, data centers, chips, and power contracts. And markets, like they move when these guys speak. Entire sectors are repriced based on like one earning call. These compute barons, they're reshaping how people interact, how information spreads, even how we're interacting or relating to one another, and they're carrying meaningful chunks of the US GDP growth on their backs. The Mag 7, it looks like chips went from components to like almost like geopolitical leverage. And certainly labor is being organized before regulators even understand what model they're supposed to regulate. It doesn't appear to be stopping businesses, They're pushing into education, into healthcare, creative work, therapy, companionship. So it doesn't feel like that's architecture. It's closer to like empire building. I mean, Time did capture the surface story. It's the people and these huge personalities. There's big headlines, but there's a lot of consolidation. It does feel like we're watching a new Carnegie, / Rockefeller era in real time. I don't know. I didn't live in the 1800s. I just read about it. But again, we're not talking oil anymore. We're not talking steel. It is this idea of compute, and the infrastructure is a lot different. It's global this time. It's programmable this time. It's more instantaneous. You don't need to lay a track across the whole country. You basically spin up capacity, you sign power deals, and then everything downstream starts to organize around that. So if you're building on these platforms, if you're downstream, if you're regulating them, I don't know, these aren't really neutral platforms anymore. They're really shaping everything we do, and the compute barons are the ones driving it. So I love the last line of the Time piece. It really struck with me. It says, it kind of mentions Trump joking with Jensen Huang back in September, saying something like, I don't know what you're doing here, but I hope you're right. Honestly, I feel the same, because when a handful of companies are laying the digital rails for the next century of work and power, I think we're all hoping they get it right, because whether we realize it or not, we are officially riding their tracks.